Good Shabbos, everyone. Good Shabbos, good Shabbos, and Shabbat Shalom. This is for the Shabbat of the 25th of Adar. So on Shabbat, the moon will be in its 25th day of its cycle. This Shabbat is Mevarachim Chodesh Nisan. So this is the Shabbat that precedes the new moon of the month of Nisan. So on the Shabbat that precedes the new moon, there is a special ceremony that we do that we announce the coming of the new moon and the new month. This is a big deal because Nisan, the first of Nisan, is one of 4 Jewish New Years in the calendar. Nisan is the first of the months, so we begin counting the months of the Jewish calendar at the month of Nisan. It's also a huge deal because it is the month in which Pesach falls. This week's parasha is Vayakhel Pekudei, and Vayakhel Pekudei, at the very beginning of it, begins. There is a fascinating, beautiful passage in which Moshe says that God has called a particular individual to become the artisan of the construction of the Mishkan. So the Torah says, Vayomer Moshe el bnei Yisrael. Moshe says to the children of Israel, Re'u kara Adonai b'shem Betzalel. Hashem has called by name Betzalel, ben Uri, ben Hur, lamate Yehuda, who is the son of Uri, the son of Hur, of the tribe of Judah. Vayimale oto ruach Elohim bechochma, bitvuna, uvedat, uvechol melacha, and has filled Betzalel with the spirit of God, ruach Elohim, which, by the way, is the same phrase that's at the very beginning of the Torah, where it says that the spirit of God hovers over the deep, over the waters. So ruach Elohim, the spirit of Elohim. And so Betzalel is filled with the Ruach Elohim and with wisdom, Chochmah, Tvuna, understanding, and Uvda'at, knowledge, and in all kinds of labor, all kinds of workmanship. The term melacha there is very key, by the way, because melacha is the word that we use to talk about the kinds of work that are forbidden on Shabbat. The kinds of work that are forbidden on Shabbat are specifically the kinds of laborers that were employed in the construction of the Mishkan. The Midrashic tradition is really fascinated by this phrase, by this idea that Betzalel is called by name. He's called by name. Does that mean that God created this name, Betzalel, in this moment, or was his name Betzalel before, and God called him and called to Betzalel? So in the Midrash, one of the directions that the Midrashic tradition goes is to focus on the concept of what it is to have a good name, which means, in essence, to have a good reputation. It reminds me of this joke. It's a joke where three Jews are about from the old country, as they say, are about to get on the boat to go to America, and Beryl is fantasizing about what he's going to change his name to when he moves to America, and says, when I get to America, I'm going to change my name from Beryl to Buck. And then Cheryl, who's standing next to him, says, when I move to America, I'm going to change my name from Cheryl to Chuck. And then Shmerel, who's sitting next to them, thinks for a moment and says, I think I'm going to stay here. So here's what the idea of a good name shows up. For example, in the meaning a good reputation shows up in the book of Mishlei Shlomo, the book of Proverbs, in beautiful ways. So here's what Mishlei says. It says, Nivchar Shem Me'osher Rav. A good reputation, literally like a chosen name. A chosen name is preferable to great wealth. Umizahav Chen Tov. mikesef umizahav chen tov. Grace, grace, chen is such a beautiful word, such a loaded and profound and multivalent word. Grace is better than silver and gold. Umatzachen v'sechel tov, and you will find favor, you will find grace and approval, v'sechel tov, in the eyes of God and in human beings. V'ainei Elohim v'adam, you will find favor in the eyes of God and human beings through means of this good name, which comes about through the way that you manifest as a person, the way that you manifest menschlichkeit. Here, the word is chen, which connotes menschlichkeit here. Some 1,200 years later, the book, the oral tradition was written down in this book called the Mishnah, and in the Mishnah we have more about what it is to have a good name. So the Mishnah says that Hu haya omer. It says Hu haya omer. Hu being Rabbi Hanina ben Dosa, which is beautiful because Hanina is based on the word hen, on that word grace. So Hu haya omer. Hanina ben Dosa says, Kol sheruach habriot nocha hemenu, ruach hamakom nocha hemenu, which is translated, someone translated it as one with whom humans are pleased, God is pleased. I don't like the translation because the Hebrew is quite poetic and beautiful. So Kol sheruach habriot, this phrase, Kol sheruach habriot, says all those with all that has the breath or the spirit of creation. That is to say, all of creation, which is bound together by the Ruach Elohim, the Spirit of God, the one I was mentioning earlier, that hovers over the waters at the beginning of Bereshit, the beginning of Genesis. Kol sheruach habriot nocha hemenu. Everything that has this breath of all creation, the spirit of all created life, nocha hemenu, that is to say, the person gives a sense of ease, gives people a sense of well-being and calm and safety and warmth. Everyone who gives that to human beings, ruach hamakom nocha hemenu, then the breath of the Spirit of God also is calmed, is given a sense of beauty and ease from this person. So we actually say in our prayers, we use the phrase nahat ruach, which is a phrase that means a spirit of rest, a spirit of kindness, a spirit of things being well. So if you put people at ease, you put God at ease. And on the other hand, it says she'en ruach habriot nocha hemenu, but if it's the opposite, and if you put people, make people feel ill at ease, ein ruach hamakom nocha hemenu, then similarly God is also not at ease. So you have this beautiful kind of mirror image, where if people are distressed by you, then Hashem is distressed by you, and if people are put at ease by you, then Hashem is put at ease as well. So what humans feel is a kind of reflection of what Elohim feels, and vice versa. So if you put creatures at ease, if you put creatures at ease, then you cause a kind of ease to the Creator and to creation itself. And elsewhere in the Pirkei Avot, in the Mishnah, it says, Rabbi Shimon Omer, that Rabbi Shimon says, Shlosha chetarim heim, there are 3 crowns, Keter Torah, v'Keter Kehuna, v'Keter Malchut. The 3 crowns are the crown of Torah, speech. You know, if you think of the Torahs in our Aron Kodesh, they have many of the Torahs in an Aron Kodesh will have crowns on them to symbol that symbolizes the honor that we give to Torah, but also to those who immerse their lives in the study of Torah. The Chetr Kehuna, which is the crown of priesthood, and the priests, especially the high priests, wore special turbans on their head, and the high priest also wore a gold plate across his head that said Kodesh Ladonai, holy to Hashem. The Chetr Malchut, and this is referring to the crown that is worn by the ruler of a land, a king or a queen. But then it says V'Chetr Shem Tov Ole Al Gabehen, but the crown of a good name is higher than all of them. So the value put on the reputation that you build is it's of tremendous value, right? It's tremendous value. So your reputation matters. And here in this kind of calculus, let's say, you can develop your menschlichkeit by paying attention to what your effect is on other people. If you cause people a sense of well-being, a sense of matzati chen be'enecha, of the person says, I have found grace in their eyes. If you inspire a sense of well-being, of positivity, of hope, then you are manifesting menschlichkeit, right? You are manifesting the pleasure that God has in that kind of manifestation of the human being. And on the other side, if and when you cause distress to someone, you are causing distress to really the ruach habriot, the spirit that binds all creatures together, and therefore also the creator, as it were. So this becomes a tool you can use, a tool to think about your relationships. Yes, in like our spiritual tradition, for example, with the Rambam, he wants us to achieve a kind of equanimity and ease and nachat ruach, a pleasant spirit in all situations. We all know that that's very hard to achieve for most of us. At various times, you're going to cause someone else distress. So part of what this helps you think about is the way that relationships work, right? So when we cause distress in others, when we cause dis-ease in other people, and we make them feel ill at ease, perhaps we even inspire righteous indignation or anger or defensiveness, then we know that we can be aware, we are aware of this tension. That's just one stage of relationship, though, because Be'ezrat Hashem, with the help of God, we're talking about the effort you put into the ruach habriot, the breath, the spirit that permeates all things and permeates all created beings. So you're thinking about those relationships, and that can help you think about how to or when to do the work of restoring nachat ruach, when you want to restore a sense of peace, and how to go about doing that. Of course, this is lifelong work, and it requires gathering a lot of tools in your toolbox for how to do that. But when you cause tension in someone else, and you're aware of that, then you know that there's a way that you can correct things, or there's the possibility of correcting things in order to bring peace and ease back into the relationship. And it's really important to understand that what's being described here is also a rubric for all of us, especially maybe all of us who inhabit positions of influence, that if we are causing distress in the world, we are causing distress in individuals, then we are causing distress to all of creation. So in some cases, this is absolutely necessary. Arguments and disagreements have to happen. But what this opens up the possibility of is for us to recalibrate ourselves to think about unease and being at ease in relationships, in the sea of relationships in which we live. So, wishing everyone a nachat ruach for this Shabbat, Mavarachim Chodesh Nisan. Hope you're all enjoying the feeling of Pesach coming towards us, the holiday of our freedom. All right, Shabbat Shalom.